Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Life Coach Code Daily. In today's episode, we're going to talk about HSP, High Sensitive Personality. And today's episode, we have a special guest, Dr. Dolores Fazzino here. She has been in the healthcare industry for over 40 years. As a young adult, after witnessing the miraculous healing of her father's 10-year health crisis with a spiritual healer, she changed her area of study from classical musician to becoming a nurse. She knew it was her life's mission to share with the world the possibilities of healing with non-traditional medicine modalities. Throughout her career, she has observed that people get actually sicker than they have ever been with modern medicine, and Western medicine is in a conundrum as to why patients do not get actually better in the long term. She earned a Doctor of Nursing Practice, DNP degree in 2008 from Case Western Reserve University, one of the top nursing programs in the nation. As founder of Concierge Surgical Coaching, she is the industry leader in preparing patients to heal faster and more completely from surgery, chronic illness, and other health and wellness concerns. Additionally, she has authored several books, including Amazon International bestsellers, The Wellness Universe Complete Guide to Self-Care, 25 Tools to Stress Relief, and The Wellness Universe Complete Guide to Self-Care, 25 Tools for Happiness. She focuses on going deep with her clients. She allows her intuitive abilities to assist in their healing so that they can have lasting health and true wellness. She is an HSP herself, and she has been doing this work since 1994. Dr. Dolores, hello, how are you?
Thank you, Dejan. Thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. So what do you want to know?
We're jumping right into the HSP
What do you
world.
want to know?
Yeah. So since you're asking, what I really want to know is what is an HSP? What is a high sensitive person? If you can put it in few
Absolutely
understandable words so everybody can understand. Yeah.
HSP, it's an acronym for highly sensitive person. And what that means is that sometimes some of us are wired and we're really sensitive to things compared to the average person. We feel things at a deeper level. We sometimes are overwhelmed by a lot of noise and a lot of drama and a lot of, I call it energetic free flow that is in our environment. Unlike other people, we feel things very deeply and it affects us more so. And sometimes we think it's our stuff or there's something wrong with us, when in essence, there's nothing wrong with us. We're just wired differently. And, when you are born that way, and a lot of people are, and it doesn't get uncovered that they are an HSP, and probably until they, start growing up and going into their teenage years and adulthood, that you don't really realize what is going on until you hit that age area, because you think that this is all normal and I should be able to blend in with society. But when you're not, because you feel like you're the odd person out, sometimes that affects our self-confidence and our self-esteem as well. So, part of that too is being highly sensitive. There's other components with that are, there's an empathic component, but also an intuitive component. It's these are gifts that we all people have this. It's just it's on a continuum, meaning that some people come into this lifetime with it highly evolved, and some people are just, barely are utilizing it. So it's not like you have it or you don't. I think everybody has it. It's a linear continuum. Some people have more than others, but I wouldn't say nobody has none of it. It's not true. We have some sort of it. And you could look at life from that perspective with everything, with spirituality, with as far as your intuitive ability, but also your ability to move through situations in your life as well.
Based on this logic, I guess that a person can become high sensitive person if an event happens in their life, for example, some traumatic event or something that triggers their high sensitivity, I guess. Is that true?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. And it's kind of interesting too that, when you look at people who go to war that are soldiers or in the military, it's like why is it that only a certain percentage of these people come back with PTSD? You know what I'm saying? It's just like PTSD doesn't, people in the military or have been in wars and stuff like that, some people, they process things differently. Maybe they're not as sensitive, or maybe they're highly sensitive. I have a funny feeling, and I want to theorize this, that I think people who are highly sensitive, there's a high correlation with them having PTSD, especially when they're soldiers in the military. Why is it not the whole military has PTSD on a certain thing and only a small percentage? I'll be willing to put money down, make a bet that I would say that those people who have PTSD are probably highly sensitive people, because they just feel things very deeply, and it affects them way differently than somebody who's not as sensitive as somebody who is a highly sensitive person. I know I kind of went round circle on that, but
yeah, it makes sense. For example, if somebody sees a horror, like a horror that worries,
right.
Everybody will perceive that differently and process that
Absolutely.
differently. So if you're a high sensitive person, that's like literally being in hell for you.
Absolutely.
I guess your consciousness cannot process that type of information in a way that can be integrated in your personality. So you have some PTSD, some form of PTSD, or some form of trauma. I mean,
right.
I guess every person can have trauma, but for high sensitive people, trauma is, I guess, they're more prone to being traumatized.
Well, I think they're more prone to that, but I think that situations hit them deeper. Those situations affect them at a very deep level, just because that they're so sensitive, that they feel things energetically. And so, this kind of goes back to the whole discussion that everything is energy. So people who are highly sensitive people are usually very proficient at reading energy, which is like a new language of our times, basically. And I think we're finding more and more research that's being, that's showing that everything is energy. And we could thank quantum physics for that, for introducing that, and the work of Greg Braden and some other highly evolved scientists who are, being the pioneers of showing the forefront of this. The thing to remember with this is that, I think many people who are HSPs, they kind of flounder through their first part of their life trying to find some landing spot where they know that they are normal and everything is okay. Because for them, it's like life is like an emotional roller coaster for them. It's just highs and lows, highs and lows, highs and lows. And sometimes they are triggered by a lot of different events. Sometimes being in a crowd is just too overwhelming for them because they're picking up everything energetically, even though words are not being said. It's like the energy of thoughts and beliefs and any type of drama and trauma that's in our collective consciousness, not just us individually, but that big pool that we all contribute to, believe it or not, whether we have negative issues going on or even positive. All of that goes into a mass of what we call collective consciousness, which is all energy. Now, for somebody like myself, and I even think you, Dijon, too, are probably an HSP as well, it's like sometimes going into a crowded venue is just way too much. For me, it is. And it's just like sometimes for me, I have to remove myself from that area because that's my self-care, because it would just overwhelm me. Because sometimes with HSPs too, and we have to remember, our energy fields are very fluid, and it's very challenging sometimes to discern a boundary energetically. So you don't know where you stop or somebody else begins. And that's where that gray zone is. It's like sometimes you're picking up things from other people, either if they're physically present or not, or what we call collective consciousness, because it's energy. And you could go through all these different emotions and you're like, what is going on? I feel perfectly fine, but I'm feeling all of this. So maybe I should be feeling this. No, that's not true. What's happening is that you are tapping into collective consciousness. And once you're aware of that, you could set an energetic boundary. And this kind of goes into a real simple tool that somebody could use if they're ever having problems, if they're just in a situation where they're just so overwhelmed with emotions or thoughts, and that this is not your stuff. We as individuals are sovereign divine beings, meaning that we're put here on earth with our own free will. Nothing can interfere with our free will unless we allow it. Now, the caveat to this is like sometimes we unconsciously allow it. So it's still happening. Yet when you start, waking up and realizing that, okay, something is interesting here. I know this is not my stuff, but I'm feeling it. One of the most simple things you could do, because you're a sovereign and divine being, is that nothing could come in your space unless you allow it. So just say to the universe, by universal laws, this is not my stuff. You need to leave my energy field immediately. And usually it'll shift like that. That's the simplest thing. And you know what? It's that simple. A lot of times I think we try to make things way complicated as human beings. And what I see coming down the line is just a return to a simplicity where, it's just like less is more, and keep it simple, because when things are complex, it's almost like you hear the first two words and it's just like you lose interest, or it's just people automatically are distracted to do something else. So if you keep it simple, and the thing is like, you will know if it's your stuff or not. So for me, for an example, I spend a lot of time still in clinical practice in hospitals. So for me as an HSP, my career has been like an emotional roller coaster, because I would step into a hospital and I would like experience 50 shades of emotion and feel all these different things. And I'm like, this is just so overwhelming. And I couldn't understand why for decades I would leave and I was so exhausted that I'd have to go home and take a nap. So what was really happening was that I didn't have the tools and I didn't explore enough and develop that within myself, that it was affecting me in the energy. Pretty much people were sticking their energetic, what do you want to call it? I would say I was the gas tank, and they were like siphoning the gas out of my tank in order for them to feel better. Or it's a form of like energetic vampirism, where people are energetically taking from you, but not and depleting you. So that from that depletion, that's where the fatigue comes in.
I completely can resonate with that, because as you said, I'm also an HSP, and ever since I know about myself, I have been feeling like the environments. I know I can enter an environment and I can feel if somebody had an argument before,
Yep.
or if I go to a bar and like there are a few people in the bar, I immediately know if it's gonna be a good atmosphere or not. Like for some reason, I have this intuitive, like I don't know how to say, knowledge all the time, and I know that since I was a child, I have been, just like you said, like having these conversations with, I don't know, someone, with myself, like this is not my energy. I don't want to feel like, just for some reason I had this defensive mechanism, I guess, in my own psyche that was protecting me from all of that overwhelming energy, because I have grown up in a city that's not at a very high conscious level, and like people are too low in consciousness. They live in too much fear. They live in too much apathy. And I had to create for myself, literally create bubbles of positivity so I can function in those bubbles, and so I can create my business, so I can extend myself and actually try to help people. Because if I didn't create that, I was not able, because I was swimming in that pool of negative energy. So it was
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're very fortunate to have that insight at a very young age. That's a really good thing. And, you know, and I'm glad you listened to that too, because that is so important. You know, I think for many of us, we're just sensitive and intuitive. And I know I'm a little older than probably a lot of people, you know, involved with your work, but it's just like in my generation, it was just like, you just ignored it and pretended it wasn't there, or you're told that, you know, you're crazy. Don't talk to anybody about this because you're crazy. I mean, you know, this is kind of interesting, but it's just like, I thought, you know, to some degree, what I was experiencing was semi-supported. However, it stayed within the house and everybody else outside wasn't, we didn't tell anybody. But the thing is once I started talking to my friends, I thought everybody did the same thing, and they'd look at me like I had three eyes. Well, I do have three eyes, but the thing is, do you know what I'm saying? It's just like, they thought you were crazy. So it's just like I learned early on, I guess I better not be sharing this, but
how can,
you know,
for example, sorry to interrupt you, but if
that's
somebody is like feeling these feelings, how they can know if they're like an HSP, how they can be sure, what are the signs that they can like.
Okay, so sometimes there you feel like you're really alone. Okay, you feel like you don't fit in. Sometimes you feel like you should know all the answers, but they forgot to give you the instruction manual when you're born. Okay, it's just like, you know, people, you know, it's like you just don't fit into this world. But the good news is this, you know, people who are HSPs, they're here, who are also, you know, HSPs, the empaths and the intuitives, they're all here to help humanity evolve, because we have been in a world where sensitivity and being okay with having sensitivities has been downplayed, has been blocked. It's not okay to feel. Okay, so we're all here to teach humanity to be more sensitive, because you need that sensitivity and to feel emotions. We have been told, I know, and I'm from the United States, but in the United States, it's not okay to feel. If you are feeling or get upset or cry about something, it's considered a weakness. And it's actually, I view it as a sign of strength to be vulnerable enough to express yourself in any capacity. I also feel too that emotions have gotten a bad rap. And I say this because, you know, emotions, we label them positive and negative. They're not either. They're just emotions. Okay, they're expressions of emotion, but expressions of feelings. We've had a society where it's not okay to feel, so people stuff that, ignore the feelings, put it on the shelf to deal with later, do anything to avoid going there. But the most interesting thing is this. You know, we come to Earth as a human being to learn lessons, okay? To have, people are lined up to come to Earth, you know, on the other side, because when you come to Earth, you have a human body, and in a human body, this is where you get to experience emotions. This is all on the other side, okay? So people are lining up to have a human body so they could experience emotions. Then, you know, they get a dose of amnesia, they're born, and then the next thing you know, it's like they start experiencing emotions, and they start getting programmed into what society says is good or bad. But also sometimes it's really scary to feel your emotions. They dip their toe in the pool of emotions, and then they retract and go back up into their heads. So the biggest cosmic joke is this, you know, on the other side, is that you want to come here to grow and experience emotions, but as soon as you experience it, you totally check out. So it's just like, what is your life all about if you're not going to have an enriched human life to experience those emotions? You need to experience the contrast. That's part of your development as a human being. So when you're an ultra sensitive person, you're just feeling those things to the extremes. And also you are a lighthouse to show other people that it's safe to do this.
So it's like
it's okay to do this.
Went to the cinema, and normal people, they experienced a 2D movie. You were experiencing a 5D movie with all the like sensations.
Exactly. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. And like I've been thinking about like how people actually have this idea that, for example, I hear you say it, I hear many other spiritual people say it, that there are many souls aligned to come on the earth and to learn and to grow. And I've always wanted to ask, like, anyone who says that, like, how can, like, what makes us believe that that's the case? Like, I'm neither saying it's wrong, I'm neither saying it's right. I'm just curious to know, because I haven't asked anybody. And I've
Dejan, for me, it's just like, what you know, and you can't explain why. It's just like, you just know that this is the absolute truth, even though there's nothing documenting it on earth, but you just know. And then all of a sudden, somebody will pipe in and you hear something and it's just like, oh my God, I'm not alone. They got the same download. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
it's a fascinating thing, because a lot of people that haven't met, that haven't talked to each other, they have the same realization that a lot of souls wait to come on the earth, and the earth is like this school that we learn. And like I have a not a different theory, it's a kind of tweaked theory, maybe not to learn as to learn lessons, for sure to grow, but maybe the whole thing is just the experience itself. Maybe that's the growth and the learning, just to come here as this form that we are right now, and have this, for example, ride. If we are walking into an action park, we have this ride and we feel it fully with all the emotions, the full spectrum, with like the tragedy and the greatest bliss. And then we get out of the show, and we, like, if we want to come to the next show, we can come. If not, so
that's a great analogy.
But it's kind of because I don't think that we, like, I don't know, it's not, to be honest, aligned with me that we are forced to come here, or
no. We all come
to learn, because then why are we learning? What are we learning for?
Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit, because I'm also a medium as well. So I know a lot about what happens on the other side. So we always choose to come. Okay, we're not forced to come. It's our choice to be here. A lot of times we pick out certain situations. Believe it or not, there's a lot of pre-birth planning that goes on to come here. You're meeting with the souls of other people that you're going to interact with throughout your life. You have your parents' souls, and you have decided whether or not, you were going to come through on the other side before you were even conceived. And, there's, I want to say, a panel or a boardroom or whatever on the other side that you're working with. And they're kind of looking at, okay, so what do you want to work on in this lifetime? So you get to choose. I want to be more compassionate. Maybe I want to experience relationships. I want to experience this. So those are like, core things that you are going to be experiencing, and different players are going to come in and out during your life, and you've prearranged with all of them. Some of them, in soul life, we're all friends, but out here, there might be your enemies. They just show up that way. So these are like opportunities for you, since we have free will, to choose whether or not you're going to want to have interaction, and how you're going to act and have the interaction. Now, the interesting part is, like, this is all kind of done before you're born. Then you're given a dose of amnesia, so you don't remember any of it. And then you are born, and you are a divine being, and you start choosing energetically. And this is how it kind of unfolds. An interesting author that some of the listeners may want to to explore. There's a series of books by, his last name is Schwartz, but he has written Your Birth Plan, Your Life Plan. What is it? I'm like blanking on his name. His name is Robert Schwartz. Okay. And he has Your Life Plan, your life purpose, and then I think he recently wrote a book on your life's love or something like that. And it's very interesting because he talks about pre-life planning before you're incarnated. And
I found it, Your Soul's Plan, discovering
your soul's plan. Yes, it's actually very, it's very interesting. I've been following this gentleman for probably about 20 years. And I was very fascinated with that because what he shared there made complete sense to me. Because sometimes you wonder why somebody is born, the way they are. Why are they really sensitive? And, you chose that before you were born, basically, to experience life through that lens, basically. Okay. And the other thing, too, is there's no right or wrong. It's just experiences we're having. And we come to the University of Earth to have these experiences. I mean, if you look at the Earth plane as like this big educational and schooling opportunity, I mean, we're constantly learning lessons if we choose to look at it that way. Yeah. Some people get stuck in the whole thing of being a victim and just beating, continuing to stay stuck there. That's a choice as well. That's free will. But, when you look at life from the bigger perspective, it's almost like turning a bowl of lemons into lemonade. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, there's always a gift in every situation. And sometimes it's very hard to see the gift when you're going through the mess, basically, but there is always a gift.
Exactly. And I completely agree with you about emotions. I believe that emotions are the language of our soul, that our soul communicates through energy. And that's how it communicates with our body. Our body communicates all the time with itself through chemical reactions, right? So emotions are actually energy in motion. And depending on how the message that our soul wants to tell us, depending on the circumstance or event that's happening around us or within us, that's the type of energy behavior that it will pull the strings to. And that's the type of energy we're going to feel. And we just put different labels on these different behaviors of energy, and we call them emotions. And I guess for an HSP, they're more in tune with this language.
I totally agree. Because that's your, and the other thing with HSPs. I think
that's your first language as an HSP.
I think so.
Yeah, that's your mother language.
Absolutely. And it's international.
You can talk even on the other planets.
No, but I'm going to share a story about that too. Probably about 15 years ago, I was at a seminar with people from all over the world. And a lot of us did not speak a common language, but they had us all sit into, groups of 10. And what we would do is we would all connect heart to heart. And then we would ask a question in your native language to the other person, and they would respond to that question in their native language. And it was very interesting because the question that you would ask, the response was totally appropriate, even though nobody spoke the same language. So you're absolutely spot on. And the thing is that emotions and the feeling part is, I think, our primary language.
I guess so. And like they say, there are like 4 main realms in this world, like spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. And most of the world, for as long as we can remember, has been living through the mental realm. Just thoughts, thinking, organizing patterns. Like the modern world is a result of too much thinking. We are addicted to thinking. And I guess naturally, like if nature wants to balance things out in the world, it will create more sensitive people who are living more through their emotions, to bring a little bit of fruit, let's say emotional fruit, into this world. to create a world that's not based so much on the mind, but more on the heart, more on what we feel, more on energy. I guess that's kind of like the logic I see behind.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to add more to that too, because it's like, I agree with you. It's like we've been top heavy with the whole mental thing. Did you know when people are in the mental capacity, they're never in the present moment?
Yeah, makes sense. Like thoughts are never in the present. Thoughts are
right.
In
it's
the
the past
or in some future.
The future. And it's also about trying to figure something out. That's the way our society has been programmed for a very, very long time. I know that in our world, if you are standing still and, the appearance is that you're not doing anything and you're considered lazy. You always have to be in motion, which is not true. When you are being, or how could I say it, allowing yourself to be in your body, when you're in your body, that's when you feel your emotions. When you're in your head, you don't feel, you intellectualize emotions. And the telltale sign for me is when I talk to somebody and I said, how are you feeling? Well, I think I feel. What's this? I think I feel. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, are you feeling it or not? No, I think I feel, so what is that? That's a telltale sign. Yeah. So, and I just want to add one step further. And, for those lovely people who are empaths, intuitives, and highly sensitive people, just have a lot more faith and confidence in yourself, because you are here to do very important work and you are needed. And the thing is like, there are tools to learn to move beyond, surviving to thriving. And believe it or not, you're strategically placed into your family groups. And I'll tell you why. You're here to help heal the ancestral lineage that continues to carry through from generation to generation. You have a big mission. And it's not about you taking it on and healing it yourself. You're the facilitator that's allowing it to happen. Big difference. But an important job.
Yeah, I must agree. Like it's, I guess that's the main mission of an HSP. I don't know if like this will resonate with people who are HSP, but it all starts with your family, I guess. And you can
absolutely
heal the world, change the world, but it all comes down to the people who are close to you. Like that's the main job you have. Change that and then worry about the world, because if you cannot fix that, then you cannot fix the world. You cannot change the world.
Not only that,
you can help people, you can like make a positive contribution, but as you said, your main mission is something else. It's closer to you.
It is. It's definitely closer. And the thing is like, once you start working on ancestral lineage type stuff, and it's very, people think, oh, this is going to be a lot of work. It's simple. Like I said, you know what? I'm a firm believer that the simpler it is, the better. It's just about energy is very, how could I say, it's so fluid and stuff like that. And you could alter it and change it just by, stopping the flow of it. Sometimes I tell some of my clients, especially if they're really sensitive and things are starting to push their buttons, we write a little script and we put the energy into the freezer, literally. Because what it does, it's not doing any ill harm to the person. It is stopping the flow of energy from the triggers, stopping it. So you have a boundary, so you could work on yourself, raise your frequency, so it no longer is an energetic match. Sometimes it's necessary to do that to break yourself out of there so you could raise your vibration. Because let's face it, we all get triggered. I still get triggered. But I have tools in my toolkit to know what I need to do in order to do self-care for Dolores.
Mm-hmm. That's the main thing that I believe HSP needs. Like they need conscious tools to make them able to manage their energy. Like because energy always follows consciousness, right? Energy is
Absolutely.
like the feminine side of us, and consciousness is like the masculine side. And both sides need to work together as a balance.
Absolutely.
Conscious tools for energy management. That's what we need. Like we need to have some, let's call them, I don't know, just like you say, you talk with the universe and you say, this energy by the universal law does not belong to me, so it needs to leave, right? We need to have this type of, I don't know how to call them. They're basically conscious tools that will allow us to either set boundaries or to steer the energy in a different location. Because energy is easily manipulated. It's just that we lack the conscious tools.
You know what? I also feel that HSPs are alchemists. There are alchemists. Because once they're able, and I just got goosebumps on this, so I know this is the truth. We are all alchemists and we're all magical, but I think HSPs have a higher sensibility of that. And once they're able to hone into that and get into that, it's almost like they could read energy like it's their primary language.
Yeah, I must agree with that, because what is an alchemist, right? An alchemist is somebody who takes different materials, puts them together, and out of them creates something else, something purer, let's say. Something that's, for example, like the philosopher's stone, right? It's out of a stone they create gold, right? And I believe as an HSP, your journey in life is to use that. That's actually your superpower. You are more in tune with energy, right? You can speak the emotional language, and you can take the emotions out. If you feel like a victim, as you said, you will be a victim, but you can feel empowered by what you can do. Actually, you can feel empowered by feeling those emotions, taking them and alchemizing them, transmuting them into something else, into something that's pure, something that's gold, right? And with that, then you can spill it out into the world around you. And that's, I guess, how you use your mission, how you complete your mission. You use the emotions, maybe you use the let's call them negative, but they're not negative emotions, the emotions that use low vibration. And
I like that better. I like that. Yeah.
The low vibration emotions, you alchemize them into higher vibration emotions. And out of that process, a fruit, I guess, we produce a fruit of knowledge, of wisdom, of something that we can share with the world, I guess.
Absolutely.
As an HSP, I guess that's basically the basic mission for you. You are an alchemist. You can take the low vibration and transmute it into high vibration.
Absolutely. And you know what? The more time an HSP could spend, I think a lot of times HSPs need to have their downtime. People say, oh, they're extroverts, but they're really introverts as well too. It's like they can be out in the world, but they also need their downtime to recharge their batteries. So, it's not like they're, hashtag hermit or hashtag, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they're turning it to, or hashtag recluse. They're not that. They need that time so they can energetically recharge themselves and give back to themselves. So, sometimes when you're invited to go out, of course, the holiday season is amongst us. And I wrote that article, about saying no and making choices and not doing things you don't want to do, especially during the holidays. We put ourselves into situations where we feel like we're obligated to do something when that's the last thing you want to be doing. And so it's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to reserve your energy for yourself. That's how you do that. You know what? If it's, this is where it's important to have a relationship with yourself and your intuition. Your intuition is your guidance that's going to assist you to make the right choices for you. It's not about what everybody else on the outside saying. It's about what's the right choice for myself, for you, Dijon, or even our people who are listening. It's about honoring that, and without feeling guilty, shamed, or anything else that you want to throw in there. That's just a filter that you've been programmed to think.
Yeah, it's actually based on society, because society doesn't know about these terms, right? It doesn't know about what's happening. It doesn't know about energy. We are not educated about this. So if you tell somebody that, hey, I'm energetically depleted because I felt too many emotions, because I don't know, I went to a mall and there were a lot of people and I cannot come to the party because I'm emotionally depleted, they will not understand, because
they won't.
They just, like, we haven't been educated. It's nobody's fault. It's just ignorance, pure ignorance, because we don't know. We are not aware of this. However, just like we have a sense of hunger, and it tells us that we need to eat, and if we are hungry, we will tell to somebody, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm hungry, I want to eat. In the same way, we have a sense of, hey, I'm emotionally depleted, I need today to take a day off, I need today to take rest.
Why should that be any different?
Yeah, it should be the urge. It's the same defensive mechanism.
Absolutely.
From the psyche. It's all to for your benefit, right? To protect you, to protect your energy. One is to fuel you, to eat something, to fill your belly. The other is to fill your energy, to just recharge and take time off. Right? Both are equally valid. Both are, you
absolutely.
Starve yourself if you want, or you can go to the party if you want. It's, as you say, you have free will, your choice, but you should honor them the same way. They're not any.
Absolutely. That's a very good thing, because I believe that we have a society that has downplayed that it's not important. And I think we're on the cusp of seeing some interesting things right now, because in the workforce, and I know here in the States, there's plenty of jobs out there, but nobody's wanting to work. They don't want to, they don't want to work as hard as they used to. They're starting to realize what's important. It's not about having a lot of money. It's about being happy and, not stressed. Because, being in healthcare, we're going through a major crisis right now. It's like we have such a shortage of healthcare personnel that they're offering tons of money to people, but people aren't taking the positions, because tons of money comes with a lot of responsibility, and people are just burnt out. They can't be doing this anymore. And that's, what? I think we're at a point where there's going to be a tipping point very soon, that something different's going to have to come down, because what we have been doing is no longer working. There has to be a different way, and maybe we just don't know what it is yet, but a different way is going to probably be formulated through all of this.
And the main thing that I want to add here is do not be somebody that isolates themselves. Even though you're an HSP, doesn't mean that you should stay home and just lose yourself in a virtual world because the world outside is too hard. It's just like, if you want let's say, to build your body, you go to the gym, you exercise, even though it's hard. In the same way, if you want to become an emotionally strong person, you go out and you face emotions every day. You train yourself, because otherwise life is not interesting. Life is not fun if you actually don't live it. You need to go outside and experience emotions. If you are an HSP, high sensitive person, maybe your game is slightly different than other people, but that doesn't mean that something is wrong with you, or that you cannot live like other people. You can live like everybody else, just slightly different. If other people can go to the mall, then to the party, then with their family, maybe you can skip on one of those things, right? You can go and charge. But as an addition to you, you can actually feel energy deeply. You can actually be more intuitive, and you can help in that side, right? So you can also be an addition to society from another side. And if we all just accepted ourselves, like our true nature, I believe that we are all pieces of the puzzle. And
absolutely,
we can all be an addition. It doesn't mean that you're less or more than somebody else. You just give in a different way. You contribute in a different way.
The other thing I wanted to add too, because I just got a flash on boundaries, is that it's like, once you start setting boundaries, it's like you're calling your power back, because a lot of times unconsciously we have given our power away to other things. And when it's almost like you're calling back your power with each thing that you do. And once you do that, it's like you're getting the pieces back of that beautiful diamond, those facets that you have given off to different places, different people,
Exactly.
different times. And it's just like, it's very empowering. And it's just like, all of a sudden you start feeling more comfortable in your own skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As we can put it like in contrast, let's say for somebody who is more like in tune with their mind, somebody who is a thinker, an opposite of an HSP. They don't feel a lot, they just think a lot, which
That's
I
right.
everybody else is.
They can analyze.
For them,
They may be engineers
yeah, exactly.
and scientists.
Yeah. For them, what would it
All
be?
good. We need them all.
Yeah, yeah. What would it be for them? Let's say they work, instead of one project, they work on 10 projects all at once, right? Their mind will be depleted. So they need to also set boundaries for their mental side. They need to say,
absolutely.
Oh, today I'm working on this project until I finish it. Then I will work on that project and on that. It's the same for HSP energy-wise. They can go and they, like, for example, set a boundary that, okay, I need to focus my energy in one place, not in all of the place, right? So it's the same way. Doesn't matter if you're an HSP or somebody else. Boundaries are there to serve you, to protect you, and to make you more powerful, as you say, to not let other things deplete your power away.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on.
So, Leslie, this was an amazing episode. I really enjoyed it. And if people like it, we will for sure make it like a part 2. We will go.
Oh, that would be perfect. Yeah, we could go into more detail.
The mysteries of the universe and the mysteries of energy.
It's all energy.
It's all energy, yes. It's all consciousness, it's all energy, and we are swimming in this pool, and we don't even know that we are swimming in this pool.
Well, that's it. And, I think for a lot of people, it might be a new thing that they're realizing that they're an HSP, and that's okay. So, now you can, start exploring, okay, what is that all about? Read up on it. There's other people that are great teachers with this as well as myself. And, just start being, whatever you're attracted to or leaning into, by all means, explore it. Because the thing is like, that's your intuitive guidance giving you your next step. Okay. So, just ask for guidance, continue to ask higher self for guidance. You will get your next steps.
Exactly. So if people want to, if they find that they're HSPs and they want to connect with somebody, with a coach that can help them, how they can reach you, where they can find you?
You could go to my website. It's DoloresFazzino.com. And I have a lot of information there if they would like to schedule a session. If they go to, there's a free meditation that I offer. It's called DoloresFazzino.com/free-video/ and actually it's a downloadable guided meditation that helps allow you to get anchored into the present moment. Because sometimes when you are in your head a lot, or you are spiritual and you're an HSP as well, it's very hard to be grounded in this reality. And this is going to allow you to be more grounded here on earth, but also more present in your physical body. Because when you are in your physical body, you're in the present moment. So that'll help with that. And if people are interested, also I have a $100 off a session with me. So they could just contact me through that website and link.
Perfect. Beautiful. We're going to put all the links down there in the description. So
perfect.
They can find it easily. They can find your special discount with $100 off from your offer. And if somebody is an HSP, somebody just wants to work with you, has listened to this episode and wants to connect with you, they can go down there in the description and you can find everything you need about Dr. Dolores Fazzino. Dr. Dolores, it was an honor talking to you. We will for sure make another episode. Thank you for being a guest on this podcast. For you, I'm going to leave you with these few advices that we shared with Dr. Dolores about being an HSP. And if you're an HSP, just don't worry. It's nothing wrong with you, just a different gameplay that you need to learn how to play. And when you were born, nobody gave you a guidebook of life. However, there are people like Dr. Dolores that can be your personal guides, that can show you the ways of how you can use your HSP as your greatest superpower in life. Thank you for listening. Have an amazing day and see you in the next episode.